Hello and welcome to the Overwhelm is Optional podcast. I'm Heidi Mark, coach and biggest cheerleader for successful but secretly overwhelmed women. As well as weekly episodes here on the podcast, you can find out more about what I offer by going to heidimark.co.uk. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Overwhelm is Optional podcast. It's lovely to have you here again if you're a regular listener. If this is your first time here, welcome. It's really lovely to have you here. So, how are you doing? Here in the UK, things are turning from that end summer, lots of harvests in my garden, masses of courgettes, to suddenly everything's slowing a bit because it's getting much cooler in the evenings and at night, and the darker evenings are starting to draw in. I'm actually really enjoying that. I've noticed I'm a lot less tired than I would have been in previous years, and I love the way as I continue to commit more and more to myself, to this path of gentle rebellion against the idea that everything has to be hard, against the idea that the only way to be successful in life and business is to push my poor brain through overwhelm, is to push myself really hard, is to make everything just fierce and scary. So this gentle rebellion, this, if I wasn't talking to you about it, nobody would know. I mean, I expect that the people closest to me, I know that the people closest to me would be saying that I'm easier to be around, that I'm more fun, I'm more smiley, and they're really happy for me because they love me. But apart from that, I don't think anybody needs to know. I mean, I need to tell you because I've made this this is my mission and my business. But for you, you can gently rebel without making a fuss. That's the whole point. Because when we get really feisty, I don't want to do that, this isn't fair, why don't you understand how much stress I'm under? It's just really hard work. It uses a lot of energy in order to create the change we want. So the idea of gently rebelling is that we do it gently, with ease, and really just very quietly and secretly. So I'm all about coming up with the smallest, most powerful ways for you to do that in your day without adding to your to-do list or your must-do list or your must get better at. So anyway, what I've noticed is the more I do this, the better and better life gets for me. And I also noticed this with my clients. So we've had some really exciting news inside the Get Your Life Back alumni group, which I can't share because I don't have permission to share it, because I haven't asked, not because she wouldn't want to share it, but because I always ask permission about this kind of thing. But she's just had one member in there who has just had this most amazing expansive thing happen in her life, and I just love that. I just love the whole life just gets better and better and better the more that you learn to listen to your heart, really listen to your body, take better care of yourself, really listen to yourself. So it's this turning inwards, turning the attention into yourself so that you can navigate your life with ease and joy and flow and happiness and energy, and it's so lovely, so lovely. So with that in mind, I really want to do some more kind of like how-to kind of episodes. So I talk a lot about specific types of overwhelm or changes when you start doing these things, but let's and I've done loads of how-to episodes. There's loads there, but I guess it requires searching for them, and also I get better and better at teaching them, and the tools keep developing the more I use them with clients. So I really want to go back to basics and do a spotlight on the 1 minute mark. And the reason for this is it's very easy to dismiss the 1 minute mark, and I've actually got to a stage with it where I'm thinking of just taking it away as the free gift when you join my newsletter. And the reason for this is that I'm not entirely sure that when we receive something for free, we always appreciate it. Now, it doesn't mean I don't want to give it to people. I do, but I don't know. There's something kind of off there for me where it's easy to dismiss because it's so small. And yet I use it constantly in my work. So for me, it's already embedded. So I know that at any time that I'm noticing, so for me, it's just noticing. So neutral noticing is just how I move through my day now. And I know that if I'm not paying attention, then that's when things start to go off. So I can get overwhelmed because I'm not paying attention and noticing that I'm allowing pressures to build up. But whereas for my clients, if they're coming to me with something like a problem with procrastination, or just that complete inability to think straight, can't see the wood for the trees, exhaustion, that feeling of stuckness, frustration, not quite being connected to what you feel that you really want to do with your life. So never quite having time or energy or headspace to do the things that really matter to you, whether they're tiny things or big things to do with changes in how you work. So I always go, my first thing is 1 minute mark. Are you using it? How are you using it? And when we start to work together and there's something very specific, I'm always going to say, and use the 1 minute mark to support you with this support task, always. Now, if it's something very, very specific, with a one-to-one client, I will very often make a very special audio if it feels that would be a good thing to do. But they're still based on the 1 minute mark. It's still all neutral noticing completely neutrally what's going on for you, treating all of it as useful information. So I guess the difference is that the longer you do this, the less, well, first of all, you don't need the audio anymore because it's embedded, or you use the audio when you want to, as opposed to deliberate use of it, say, aiming to do it once a day or between meetings or on the hour. Then it just becomes a natural part of your day, and then you might forget about it for a bit, and then I might say, when did you last use the 1 minute mark? And then it's like, oh, obviously I should be using, and then it's like, oh yeah, so brilliant. So eventually it's just how you move through your day, this noticing, oh, I'm noticing today that I woke up feeling anxious about something, or I woke up feeling tense about something, or I woke up feeling really good. It's all just noticing. So for me, yesterday I had an absolutely amazing day because I went to a new spa. I love spas. A thing I really like as well is day spas, as opposed to the spa where you've got like jacuzzi and all that kind of stuff. I love that as well, but that's more effortful because it's a whole day or a weekend or an overnight thing. And I really like day spas where they really cosset you. And I went to this, there were two on my list. They're both not that close to me, so it's taken me a while to book it. But anyway, I went yesterday to one of them. Oh my goodness, it was so good. And because I was very intentional, because I notice what's important to me and I'm really aware of what I need and what makes me happy, I was able to, I think, get even more out of it because of that. So let me just describe that. When I woke up in the morning, well, actually, before I went to sleep, I was like, I'm really excited. It's spa day tomorrow. And I wasn't taking the whole day off because I didn't need to, but I also knew that it's really good for me to let go of work. So I could have done more work yesterday, but do you know what? I just got into the whole, So I did some for fun because I felt like doing it. And I tried not to. I was like, oh no, I just want to do that. I just want to do that thing because I'm really excited. So I wasn't really working. But everything that I chose to do, the tiny little bits, which probably didn't even add up to an hour, was because it was just joyful and lovely. But most of my day was spent deliberately letting go of anything to do with work, anything at all to do with the work. So every time anything popped in like, oh, this would make a good podcast episode, I just went, yeah, but not now, because today in this moment is just about me. And that, being able to control my attention like that, oh, that's something to celebrate. How cool is that? So because I was very controlling in my attention, by that I mean I created this space around the space I'd created for myself and stopped that space leaking out. And I thought about times in the past where I've booked in a massage because I've known I really need a massage, and a massage ought to have more massages, added to a list, took a while to book, and then would get cancelled and moved because I was too busy and something else had to happen first. And the massage was a real need. And I remember and I used to regularly have massages. At one point, we had somebody come to our house once a month. I mean, we, had a lot of massages. I'm a big fan. Massage, absolutely lovely. But when it's I need a massage, what I found would happen is my mind would drift off into to-dos, and it's kind of annoying. So, or I'd fall asleep. And the falling asleep's fine, but often I'd feel quite groggy afterwards, because it would be like going from real tension to deep relaxation and then back again. Rather than now, I just feel at ease. In fact, I came up with this word last night, ease-citement. It doesn't really work, does it? Ease-citement. By that I mean ease and excitement. And I've noticed this is more and more how I feel. So I go to bed feeling at ease, feeling grateful, deliberately identifying all of the things that I loved about the day, and then excitement for all of the good things that are coming into my life, excitement for the next day, just general, but it's very easy excitement. It's not that, because I know I can get, and see if this resonates with you, because I get very excited about getting things done, a new thing or work. I love working, so I have to watch that I don't get addicted to it, because I've done that. It didn't work out too well. How does it work out for you? That workaholism, is that how you say it? So sometimes my excitement about work can get very pushy, and I do know that I have a really good ability to focus, but when it's focus at the expense of my health and my sanity and my sleep, that's not, I don't want that anymore. I'm not interested. So instead, what I find now is when I get excited about something, I go all in, but then I need a way to let go and trust that I've done enough, that it's good enough, that imperfect is fine, because it is, that there isn't, perfection doesn't exist anyway. And then just being able to move out of that excitement and real focus on something, a new project in my work or in my personal life, and then rebalance into ease. So ease and excitement, holding those two things at once is now possible for me, because the excitement isn't a pushy, feisty, I must get this done, I need to get this done, pressure. It's a different way of working. So I'm still kicking ass on loads of stuff. In fact, I would argue that I'm probably even better. I would definitely argue that I'm even better now. So one of the things that I really wanted to do in August, September, was 3 things at once. I described this maybe 3 weeks ago on an episode. So I'm finishing my book, ready to send to my first readers, my lovely, amazing first readers, promoting Get Your Life Back. And what was the other thing? Oh yeah, the huge thing, the straw bale build for my partner's birthday. And they were 3 big things. And previously I would have been anxious about, I don't want to get overwhelmed again, so I'll separate them all out. And now I'm like, well, I don't do overwhelm. I can handle this. How can I make this easy and fun and joyful? And I did it, and I'm really proud of how I did it. And I think that's a really good thing to share, because often we can think that if we decide to live without overwhelm, we won't get things done. We won't live the expansive life we want. And I think that's living proof. I know that's proof that the opposite is true. So how we do it matters. And asking that question, how can I do this easily? So it started with, oh yes, I know, it's the episode called how to do doing hard things the gentle rebel way. So you can check that one out if you want. So I expect you want to know where I am with the straw bale build. Well, you may or may not. I'm going to tell you anyway, because it's super exciting, and I know people love hearing about things like this. It's really touching how much kind of good energy and goodwill building with straw bales evokes. It's just so lovely, the generosity of people and the interest, and it's just lovely. Anyway, what happened was, so I think it was 2 weekends ago, having had lots of dry weather, but my partner not being able to build because of his work commitments, we then had this really squished period of time before rain was coming. So we just went for it. And on the Friday night, we finally, after 16 years of dreaming, we laid the first bales, the first bale, and then we did like a whole side. And that was so exciting and so special, and such a celebration of us and of dreamers and lovers of living a full life and everything. And it was so exciting. And then the next morning, he was up at like 5 in the morning, moving 200 bales on his own. I don't know what he was up to. He must have just got overexcited. Whereas I was like feeling really laid back because that's the mode I work from now. And yeah, so anyway, then I went out to join him and then discovered that I couldn't breathe properly. Yes, so it turned out that I had, or have, I don't know, a straw bale allergy, and quite a severe allergy, to the extent where I can't breathe and it makes me feel nauseous and really, really exhausted and ill, and oh, it's just horrendous. And the coughing, oh my God, it was horrible. So I thought, oh dear, this isn't great, is it? So I messaged my son who was coming over, and I said, you know, we've got just today before it rains, and we need to build to 7 bales high and get a temporary roof on, which is completely possible, but obviously you just got to go for it, right? Got to put some good music on, get into it, and just go for it. So anyway, what happened? I went inside and made myself a bandana, like out of this really nice soft jersey material that went over my mouth, and then tied, like sealed it all with a scarf. I'm not very good with masks, so I don't know, there's something about a bandana which I can easily pull. I don't know. Anyway, I felt like it was okay. And then I was able to work for a bit, and then my son came over and he built me another bandana. So then I had 2 bandanas on, and I was starting to struggle, but I thought I was okay if I kind of took a break and went out of the straw dust and just took some deep breaths and, you know, wiped the dust off my face. I thought, this is okay, I can do this. It's only for a day, it'll be fine. And I got to do lots of the fun stuff. So I taught my son how to split a bale, because you have to get 2 special bale needles, which somebody kindly made us. And you have to measure where you need the size of the bale you need. And then you have to tie off both halves or thirds or portions of bale. And it's messy, it's fun. And then putting hazel stakes in bales and hammering them down. There's lots of things to learn, and then just making sure the whole thing's level, and trimming the ends, and it's just like all of the things I'd learned to do 6 years ago when I did the course, and I was actually doing them, and it was super exciting. But I was starting to really struggle, because as the bales went up, I was in a pen of straw dust. So it just basically the conditions were getting worse and worse and worse. And then I said, I'm really struggling. So then we had decided, but I really wanted to do it. So then we had decided that I could just do bale splitting, which I'd taken up anyway, because it involved less straw dust, because there's no hammering or anything. And also because I'm physically less strong than the other 2. And as the build goes up, it's just really hard for me to lift a whole bale above me. So then we set me up outside of the straw bale building, you know, with all the stuff to do the splitting of bales, but it was too late. I couldn't do it. I just literally couldn't do it, because if I went to take a deep breath, I'd have to like walk quite a long way away, because it was hot, so it was dusty. And by then I was just like, no, this is not okay. So I listened to my body, and I described this in the straw bale build episode if you want to hear more about it, and I stopped, and I'm really grateful that I did. But then what happened is the other 2 were building and then putting this roof on, and then we have had all of the rain we didn't have in the previous month, we've had in one go. And I'm talking about masses of rain. I mean, the water butts filled so quickly. It sounded like somebody was literally pouring buckets into them. I mean, it was just hilarious. It was just ridiculous, just at the kind of wrong time, because you have to keep straw bales dry. Anyway, we've managed to do it. It's all working, but that's where we are. We're in a situation where we have a wrapped up straw bale building. It's literally wrapped. I mean, not wrapped tight because it needs to have wind going through, but it's completely weatherproofed at the moment, temporarily. And then what's happened is, because we got to 5 bales, which is pretty high, it's higher than either of my son or my partner's height. We were suddenly like, that's high enough. We didn't want to go any higher. It just felt wrong, just in where it is in the garden and just how it felt. So we stopped. But what that's resulted in is we got these recycled doors off FreeCycle, which is a lovely thing to do, recycle stuff, and they won't fit. They're taller than the 5 bales. So now we're back to design. And I just love that. I love the way that you can just pause and figure stuff out, just trusting you can't get it wrong. We have such a fear of getting things wrong, don't we? And the thing with straw bale building is actually quite forgiving, as long as you keep the bales dry. If you get them wet, you're going to have to start again because they go mouldy. It's just they're not suitable for building with. But as long as you keep them dry, a lot of it's forgivable. So, for example, if we suddenly decided we wanted a bigger window where we've made a hole for a window, we can do that. If we want another window, we can do that. If we want to use different doors, we can do that. We haven't decided what floor we're having, but there's lots of things we haven't decided. And I love that. I love the whole, I wonder if we could solve this problem by doing this. So at the moment we're looking at, can we have an incomplete ring beam? So we're doing a load bearing, which is you have a ring beam, which is basically a wooden ladder shaped thing as your foundation with hazel stakes in, and then you squish the bales into that, and then you build up, and then you put a top ring beam on it, and then you ratchet strap them down to make a sandwich. So we haven't done that yet because we haven't put the top ring beam on, because we're like, oh dear, the doors don't fit. And the whole point of the doors is they're glass. They have this beautiful mat, and I want as much natural light as possible. Anyway, it's got to be figured out. I've asked for help from my course tutor who I learnt to do it with, and him and his wife are coming out on Monday to talk about it, and they're excited. It's so exciting. If I knew somebody near me was building with straw, I'd be round there going, oh, can I see? And I highly recommend it. If you ever get the chance to go in a straw bale building, it's beautiful. The feeling inside is very special. Anyway, I'm rambling about straw bale because I know there are people who want to know what happened next, and I also know that it's a really good thing, I hope, to inspire you, that when you decide to gently rebel against all the stress and pressure, you still get to do all of those things that you want to do. In fact, that is how you get to do them, because as you will notice, I'm doing all of these things without pressure. I'm doing all of these things without making myself sick. So yes, I had the straw bale allergy, but I stopped before it made me sick. Whereas before I would have felt the need to carry on. Before I would have said, we can't build with straw while I'm getting my book out and I'm filling my program. It's not possible for me to do all of those things. That's too much pressure. That's too much stress. Because before, my pattern would have been, well, I'm going to have to push to get those done. And if I do them all at once, well, let's backtrack a bit. When I was in my previous mode, I would have done all 3 at once, but I would have cried and there would have been a lot of stress involved, and I would have made myself sick, and I would have been really stressed. I would have been really cross that the straw bale build was happening at that time of it. There would have been lots of crossness. It would have been really difficult, and I'd have somehow got them done, but it would have cost me highly. And obviously that wouldn't work, because 2 of those things are to do with my business, and that nothing in my business is going to work if I do it in the opposite to what I'm saying. So it's kind of doesn't make sense. But if we take 3 different projects that would have been relevant in the time when I was burning myself out, the approach would have been so different. And then when I was healing from burnout and setting up my business, I would have said, or even last year, I would have said, no, I need to space those out to protect my energy. Whereas now I'm in this, I literally know that I'm in this next level of my gentle rebellion, where I can see all of the practice I've done, all of the 1 minute marks, all of the neutral noticing, all of the journaling, and digging up the reasons why I damaged myself in order to achieve what I wanted. All of that has had such a benefit. Now I'm able to say, right, I'm doing it. I'm not compromising, I'm doing it. So I hope that is inspiring to you. So what I'd like to do with the rest of this episode is I'd like to talk about the how. I'd like to go back to the teaching you the 1 minute mark. If you haven't been taught it before, it is in other episodes, and I often drop in a little neutral noticing practice because I love to. And I want to just take you through it again, and I want to encourage you to use it. So at the moment, you can still get the 1 minute mark by going to my website, clicking on the 1 minute mark, and getting it when you join my newsletter. I may change that, but not at the moment. So, and if it's not there, then just message me and we can see what we can do. Send it to you. So, before I do this, I also want to say that I've decided, because it just felt joyful and expansive and fun, to start developing my YouTube channel. And I don't know how long this loving it is going to happen for, but the day before yesterday I got super excited and just released lots of old videos that I had stored that I hadn't got round to putting out in the world. And also there's some new ones, some more recent ones. There's also my hilarious from 2019, when I had a little phase of doing alternative weather forecasts, because I just got sick of the misery of the weather forecast. It's always doom and gloom. So I just messed around. There's only a couple, but they're quite good fun. Anyway, I just suddenly released a lot of videos, and it's just hugely fun. I didn't think I would ever really want to do YouTube, but actually I really like YouTube for finding inspiring things and listening to people. I just really like it, even if I don't watch the video, if I'm just listening to it. And I still love podcasts, and I still love books, and I still love blogs, and I still sometimes love Instagram. I must say I don't always love Instagram. Depends what mood I go in with it. But YouTube I'm really, really enjoying at the moment as a way to share things, and I find nourishing things for me on it. So I invite you to go over there, subscribe if it resonates with you, check it out, because I'm going to be releasing shorter videos because I can. Because it's fun, because sometimes I feel like doing a video, sometimes I feel like doing a podcast episode. And also I realised that I'm not releasing a lot of the things that I come up with because I can only do 1 episode a week. I know I could do 2 episodes a week, but I don't want to. I love the way the podcast works. It's really successful at what it does. I don't want to overwhelm you with episodes. YouTube is just another way, and I'm having fun with it. So I invite you to check that out if you like YouTube. Or maybe you will now. I don't know. Anyway, the 1 minute mark. First of all, what is the 1 minute mark? The 1 minute mark, if you don't know the story, I'll do it really, really quickly. From teaching yoga a few years ago, I realised that people really responded to my voice. And because I was teaching body mindfulness, because I'm a Zen yoga teacher, yeah, I don't know. This came from people's comments and response to workshops and things I was doing. And then eventually people saying you should record audios, and I started recording audios. And then a new friend and colleague was really, really stressed. And I sent her a 4 minute one, and she said, it's brilliant, but it's too long. And I discussed it with her, and she said it needed to just be 1 minute. And I thought she was joking, but she wasn't. So I took her up on the challenge, and I deliberately made this audio into just 1 minute for her. And that's the story of the 1 minute mark. And it's just gone out into the world. It does its thing. People who use it regularly find it incredibly beneficial. The difficult thing for me about teaching it is if I tell you everything it can do for you, that will get you into your head. This is a real problem. I haven't quite worked out how to teach it without it losing it won't lose its benefits, but it just becomes harder. So if I tell you it can reset your nervous system, get you out of overwhelm instantly, that's probably enough. There's loads of other stuff it does. It basically reverses the habits that you have that lead towards burnout, stress, the pressure loop. It reverses them without any effort, and that's what I like, because the 1 minute mark practices what you need to practice, the new skills and habits, without actually identifying them and practicing them. And there's something really beautiful about that, because, well, first of all, I didn't set out to create that. It's come from my connection to my heart and my body, so it's a very genuine audio. but also I love the way I keep finding more coming out of it. So it's a hugely rich resource that if I tell you too much will get you overwhelmed with your expectations of it. So instead, I'm just going to tell you it works if you want to learn to control your attention, listen to your body, connect to your heart, reset your nervous system, get out of overwhelm fast, and lots more that you don't need to know, which is all good. So if you want to know what it does, you can just listen to the words. But if you don't want to get into your head and analyze the words, you can just allow the words to wash over you. So you get to decide. If there's anything in it that doesn't resonate, maybe it's not for you. I'm okay with that. The whole thing about my work is that you decide you listen and decide what's for you. That if my words resonate with you, I invite you to accept them as a gift. And if they don't, I invite you to stop listening to my podcast, unsubscribe from my newsletter, and go and find the right person with you, and then come back if you ever want to. I've done that with all sorts of people who I find interesting. I did that with my own coach. I mean, listening to yourself, that's what it's about. You have what you need inside of you. We all do. Right. Lecture over. I feel like I had a bit of a rant then. I'm going to do the 1 minute mark with you. And then I'm going to invite you to, if it feels appropriate, commit to using it. Which means you can either save this episode and just work out where in the episode it is so you can repeat it, or you can go and get it by subscribing to my newsletter. The choice is yours. Okay, are you ready? So don't do this driving, or if in charge of heavy machinery or lots of small puppies, because all of your attention is going to go internally. So you need to be in an environment where that's okay. You can do it secretly at work. You can do it secretly in the middle of a meeting. You can do it secretly wherever you want, as long as you are safe to do so. You don't have to close your eyes. Once you've got the hang of it, you can do it very easily with your eyes open. But I invite you to close your eyes because it's easier, for no other reason than that. Because let's make things easy. Are you ready? So I invite you to just close your eyes. You can do it standing, lying, sitting. It really doesn't matter. And take all of your attention down to your feet. And feel your feet on the ground. And then maybe allowing your belly to soften if it wants to. And if it doesn't, that's okay. Just notice completely neutrally how you feel in this moment. Feel your feet on the ground, softening belly or not. Maybe allowing the shoulders to move away from the ears if they want to, or not. And just notice how you feel. And however you feel is however you feel, and that's okay. Don't try to relax. Don't try to do anything at all. Just notice completely neutrally how you feel in this moment. Now that is the 1 minute mark. I'm going to do it again with you, and I'm going to extend it. I'm going to extend it to help strengthen the ability to control your attention. Because the next step in the 1 minute mark is realizing you can't do it wrong. So I'd just like to empower you a little bit more, encourage you even more with it. Are you ready? So allowing the eyes to close or not. Allowing all of the attention to just be drawn inwards to you and then down to your feet. And feel your feet on the ground, softening belly or not. Maybe allowing the shoulders to move away from the ears if they want to. And if they don't, just notice that. Feel your feet on the ground, softening belly or not. Notice Notice how you feel in this moment, completely neutrally. And each time you realise your attention has been hijacked by thoughts, by external distractions, that's okay. We're not trying to quieten the mind. Just bring your attention back to your feet, then your belly, and then your whole being, and just notice in this moment how you feel, completely neutrally. So then you might become aware of thoughts and judgments, and notice those too, curiously, kindly, neutrally. Neutrally notice your neutral noticing. Neutrally notice how you're doing the 1 minute mark. You can't do it wrong. It's just a practice. The trick is to commit to the practice. The trick is to control your attention by practicing, by bringing your attention back to your feet over and over again. And that is where freedom lies. Feel your feet on the ground. Allow your belly to soften if it wants to. Maybe allow the shoulders to move away from the ears or not. And notice completely neutrally how you feel in this moment. And each time you realise your attention has been hijacked by thoughts, maybe you can hear Rosie snoring behind me, or by any external distraction or internal distraction, just notice. Notice that. Let go of the judgment. You haven't failed. This is just normal. And bring your attention back to your body, to your feet on the ground. Over and over again. Notice how you feel, just for a small moment of your day. And then I invite you very slowly and gently, when you're ready, to open your eyes and pause. Continue to notice how you feel. And notice how you feel about how you feel. Just notice all of it, curiously, kindly. Because however you feel is how you feel. And that's okay. There is nothing wrong with you. There's nothing to change. There's nothing to be better at. Nothing to do just for a moment in your day, except be with yourself, lovingly, accepting this is how you are today. So taking that feeling with you, that feeling of noticing, not the feelings that you notice, because some of the feelings that you notice you might not want to focus on. That happens. We don't want to increase our focusing on anything that doesn't feel good. We just want to notice it, and then you have a choice. So the feeling that I want you to take with you is the ability to choose, to bring neutrality into your awareness of what's going on for you. Because a lot of the pressure we have comes from within. We think it comes from without, so we try to solve things external to us. But actually, most of the pressure comes from ourselves and what we feel and think about external pressures. So you can notice this where if you're doing the 1 minute mark and something irritates you, that's a clue, that's telling you what's hijacking your attention, because the things that tend to hijack our attention tend to be negative. Why? Because that's how the mind works. Why does it have to be so negative? Because it keeps you safe. All of our ancestors who managed to be so chilled out that they could ignore the death threats from saber-toothed tigers, well, they're not, you're related to them, are you? They died out. So we are the product of ancestors who had really sharp awareness of danger. But things are much safer now, despite what is reported to us. This is probably the safest time in history. I don't know, because I haven't done, like, nobody can do a check, can they, like that? But so many things are getting better that aren't reported. And this is one of the reasons I'm really passionate about teaching you how to control your attention, how to value your attention, because where you place your attention is your life, and how you place that attention is your experience of your life. So if you want more ease, more happiness, more excitement, more joy, more satisfaction, more fulfillment, if you want to be able to control your attention so that you focus on the things that matter to you most, if you want to live your life on purpose, with satisfaction, you need to control your attention. And the big issue I have at the moment with external things that I cannot change, or I do not feel it is my responsibility to do anything about, is the things that are grabbing for your attention. So one of them would be advertising, which is all negative. It's all designed to shame you or create fear. The need to be better, the need to be warned about certain foods. There's just this constant, you need to be better. This isn't good enough. You should be worried about this. This solves a problem you didn't even know you had till you saw that advert. And while some of it might be selling you really helpful things, being able to control your attention, being able to notice. So say, for example, you particularly if you walk through a city, or if you have like the radio or the television on, where you're constantly bombarded by messaging, I would argue that we have a duty to our minds to nourish them, to look after them better, to understand them better, and we could do that by controlling our attention. So if we're going to have television running or advertising everywhere as a society, well, what effect is that having on us? Because it's not good for us. It's just not healthy to be bombarded by things that set off our high alert system in the body, because the nervous system affects every other system in the body. Of course it does, because you don't want to be digesting food when you need to be running from a danger. So your digestion's going to get screwed with if you'll constantly have this high alert. And what often happens is we just get high alert, and we get used to we're stuck in this high alert, so that when our mind wakes us up at 4 a.m. with this, I didn't do that. What did I forget to do? Or I didn't do that well enough, or a rehearsal of a past conversation that didn't go the way you wanted, or somebody slighted you and you felt it really deeply because you're very sensitive to that. I know I am. Anything, this constant being aware, basically, once you understand how your nervous system affects everything, and that by learning to control your attention gently rebelling against the need to allow all of these negative messages that affect you deeply, that's powerful. Like literally from controlling your attention. Now, the good thing about what I love about how my work has developed is that I was taught when I trained with the Zen master, this whole thing about mind, heart and body, and how it's like a triangle. So you always want to look after the body because that's your foundation, and you want to connect to the heart, and then you've got your mind, but it's a triangle. We have an inverted triangle. We have been taught that the mind is the biggest leader. Mind comes first, and then we ignore the heart because that's dangerous, and then we're so mean to our bodies. I mean, I look back and think, why did I think it was more important to rescue that person from their burnout and burn myself out? Well, first of all, I was completely unaware of the damage I was doing to myself, and secondly, I genuinely thought I was doing a good thing and I could handle it. I mean, I look back and I'm quite shocked actually, because I wasn't taught this stuff. So now I'm teaching this stuff. You have a nervous system. it's controlled by your attention getting hijacked. Your attention's supposed to be hijacked. There's nothing wrong with you, the fact that your attention gets hijacked. It's supposed to be that way to keep you safe. But you don't live in an environment where there are mortal threats all the time. You're not living in that, saber-toothed tiger era. You live in a safe place, unless obviously if you're not living in a safe place, then obviously this is not, I'm talking to people who are, the majority of the world lives in far safer situation than ever before, and not in comparison to how we're bombarded by the news cycle and the advertising cycle. So the messages we get is that we're all in mortal danger, particularly at the moment, because it's got ramped up into the world is ending, the world is ending, the world is ending. I actually know people in their 20s who think the world is going to end. And that's because of the constant bombardment of messages of doom and apocalypse. It's really unhelpful, really unhelpful. And it's cruel and it's wrong. It's wrong to subject people to this constant negative impact that sends their nervous system into high alert, because it screws with every system in your body. So I'm not here to do anything about the news or advertising or the school system or politics or all of it. Not interested. I tried changing the education system from the inside. Didn't work out very well for me. And I'm genuinely just not interested. I know my mission. I know the lane that I'm in. I know what I can add to the world. And right now, it is the ability to teach how to control your attention, how to nourish your mind, how to listen to your body, the wisdom of your body, how to connect to your heart, so that you can live fully without constant stress, pressure, and overwhelm. That's what I'm up to. That's it. I mean, it might change and grow, but that's where I'm at the moment with it. And I love it. And it works. It's worked for me. It works for my clients. I absolutely love it. And yeah, I just want to teach more and more. At the moment, I'm thinking, can I do some workshops about this? I'm just getting so excited. But I'm going on holiday next week, so I've kind of given myself a bit of time to think about how that would look. The problem I have is that with the podcast, there's like this delay. So you might not listen to this episode until after the workshop's happened. So that's why I realised that I should encourage you to join my newsletter, because then you get to hear about things. Because otherwise, if you listen to this and I've got super excited and gone, right, I'm doing a workshop next week, it'd be too late. And that just seems a shame, really. So yes, please join my newsletter so that I can send you invitations, offers, stuff, good stuff. And I send a little newsletter most weeks about the podcast, and it might be nice to have that. I don't know. You get to decide. It's your inbox. It's your attention to be controlled with nourishing things. Right. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope that this has inspired you to find ways to nourish your mind, take back control of your attention, get your life back. And if it's for you, the 1 minute mark is there for you. How to use it. I always say, well, actually, the really good thing is if you sign up for the 1 minute mark, you get 3 emails checking in on you to support you. And also, like I said, I'm thinking about doing some workshops. I'm thinking about doing one on using the 1 minute mark, but it's not quite come to me yet. I will let you know via email is the fastest way. So what was I going to say? Yeah, the best way is to just commit to using it. So because our minds go, oh no, I haven't got time, even though it's only 1 minute and you have got time. The easiest way, I think, is to say I'll do it every day and then work out how to do it every day. And I used to say, decide to do it on the hour every hour, but then you'll do it at least once a day. And then people said, oh, but I'm failing because I'm not doing it so that might not work for you. Some people do it between meetings, which I think is lovely, because then you're letting go of one meeting and then you can really focus on the next lot of people. That's really nice. You could do it lunchtime, you could do it before bed, you could do it first thing in the morning. I don't know, it's your life, you decide. Decide what works for you. When you work one-to-one with me, then I support you in making all of these things even easier, but obviously you have to pay for that kind of support, and that's fair enough, isn't it? That's why I have a coach. But for you're very welcome to get hold of the 1 minute mark and decide, and then just email me. Let me know how you're getting on. If you get stuck, email me. I love hearing from you. Right, I'm off. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure to have you with me this week, and I will see you next time, and I'll hopefully see you on my email list. Okay, bye-bye. Have an unexpectedly lovely week. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. If this resonates with you, please use the like, subscribe and share buttons to help other people find their way here too. And please do go to www.heidimark.co.uk/the 1 minute mark with an E to join my mailing list and receive my free 1 minute life-changing audio practice.